There is still little to choose between Glamorgan and Hampshire at the halfway stage of their LV County Championship match at a sweltering SWALEC Stadium in Cardiff. Hampshire battled hard in making 274 for 5, none more so than Liam Dawson. However, after surviving for 4¼ hours on day one, he was out in the second day's fourth over, edging a drive at a wide ball from Michael Hogan to Jim Allenby. Dawson was out for 72, and then Glamorgan maintained their progress by quickly getting rid of Sohail Tanvir, who nicked Allenby behind in the next over. It was just the start the home side would have wanted, having now reduced Hampshire to 286 for 7. But Adam Wheater, who resumed his innings on 14, and the vastly improving Danny Briggs, then started to balance the morning up by seeing out the next 18 overs, in which they added 45, bringing up the 300 for a third batting bonus point in the nick of time. But once Wheater, on 43, reverse swept Dean Koska to Will Owen, the innings was over rather quickly. David Balcombe nervously nicked Michael Reed to Mark Wallace, while James Tomlinson edged Koska to Allenby as the visitors were dismissed for 341, Briggs left unbeaten on 26. Lunch was taken during the innings break, and then Ben Wright and Gareth Rees, playing in his first game of the summer, came out to bat in the searing afternoon heat. Wright began in a promising fashion, scoring 20 of the first 24 runs on the board, but he then edged a drive off Tomlinson to Wheater to give Hampshire their first success. They didn't have to wait long for their second. Stuart Walters, the latest to be taken behind the wicket, this time before he'd trouble the scorers. That left Glamorgan on 35 for 2, but Rees looked in good touch. In the side at last, due to an injury to Will Bragg, the similarly styled left-hander was in a determined mood, keen to make an impression, no doubt. His partner, Marcus North, was just warming to his task, adding 49 with Rees, when the Australian came down the pitch to Briggs, yorked himself, and was well stumped by Wheater. North was gone for 18, but Murray Goodwin then came in to try to put the pressure back on his opponents. He survived until tea, by which time Rees had also completed his patient half-century. And these two ensured that there was no real daylight between these two teams by batting through the final session. Both Rees and Goodwin continued a steady accumulation of runs, both picking off boundaries in a rather untroubled partnership as they chiselled away at the deficit on a pitch which had now really settled into a good one for the batsmen. There were some terrific shots to prove that point, with Goodwin happy to take charge over his partner, who was making sure that he was still there at the close. Rees was on 84, while Goodwin also made it to his half-century before the end of the day, using up 115 deliveries in getting there. He would go again on the third morning on 57, with Rees on a patient 84, which has occupied 210 deliveries. The partnership between this pair has thus far realised 112 runs, and that means that Glamorgan will resume on day 3 on 196 for 3, trailing by 145.